Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Curtis Olafson from the great state of North Dakota, and it's a pleasure to be here and to have you all joining us today. And in the interest of time, I'm going to forego my joke about a tough act to follow and get right into it. I'm going to start with this. This is important for us to know. What caused the federal debt? Well, you're probably sitting there saying, well, Olafson, that's a stupid question. We spend too much money. But that's part of it, but there's more to it. Here's a quote that came from the president of RestoringFreedom.org, James Booth, which I think is very profound. The federal debt is the inventory of the unresolved conflict between politically unpopular taxation and politically popular spending. Without external discipline, Congress will not resolve this conflict. I want you to remember those two words out of this slide, external discipline, because we're going to get into that later. And the federal debt is not the only problem facing our country. We have increasing encroachment of overregulation, a bloated federal bureaucracy, federal takeover of our healthcare industry, and a proliferation of czars and executive orders. These are all problems that are facing our country. And what allows these problems to occur? What's the root cause? Congress has the unfettered unilateral power to borrow and spend money. And that's what we need to address. And it is addressed in Section 3 of the Compact, where the states need to approve an increase in the federal debt. This is where the external discipline comes in. If we leave the power here in Washington, D.C. to increase the federal debt, Congress will try to find a way to circumvent the intent of the amendment. The only way you can stop them from the runaway spending is to stop them from runaway borrowing. And the Compact will do that with the enforcement mechanism found in Section 3. Now, people ask the question, won't this be cumbersome? Won't this be a terribly burdensome process for Congress to get approval from the state legislatures to increase the federal debt if there's a compelling need to do so? And the answer is no, because there are only 4 states in our country that do not meet annually. They are Montana, Nevada, North Dakota, and Texas. They meet biennially. And we do a lot of things different in North Dakota. When Nick Duranius came and testified in North Dakota after we had a meeting in the Senate conference chamber, I said to Nick, I want you to come with me and see my office and meet my staff. And it was about 5:30 in the afternoon. He looked at his watch and said, is your staff still here? And I said, they're always working. So I took him out into the Senate chamber and showed him my desk. And I said, this is my office. And my staff, you're looking at them. And he said, no wonder you have a budget surplus. So all 50 state legislatures are in session on odd-numbered years, and the vast majority are in session in the first quarter of the year. So every other year, Congress would have the opportunity to submit a request to all 50 state legislatures to approve an increase in the federal debt while those legislatures are in regular session. Now, here's what the Compact will accomplish. Number 1, it will force Congress to approve and follow a budget. What a novel idea. Imagine that. It would force Congress to plan ahead. They'd have to plan ahead in order to get the state approval of federal debt, of an increase. It would force Congress to prioritize spending. There's another novel idea. It will restore federalism by empowering the states. External discipline. And I think the last one is probably as important as any of the others, perhaps more important. It will serve as a constant reminder to Congress that the Founding Fathers gave states more power in our republic than Congress. The state legislatures are the only entity within our republic which have the unilateral power to both propose and ratify amendments. Our Founding Fathers did not give that power to any other entity in our republic. If you are a state legislator, think about the power that is in your hands. Think about the faith that our Founding Fathers had in the collective wisdom of 38 state legislatures. And finally, people ask me, Olafson, why do you run around the country and pursue this issue? And like many of you, here's why. These are my 2 children and 3 of my 4 grandchildren. Those little ones have not cast a vote. They have not signed a mortgage. And yet we are amassing tremendous amounts of debt that will burden them for the rest of their lives. And it is wrong, and we have a challenge to get to work and solve it for our future generations. Thank you.